How do you really have success in a podcast? Well, you've got to create curiosity. You've got to create great content and great questions. Well, I'm Kevin Halliday, and this is our 75th episode with Shed Talk with Kevin Halliday. We're actually going to show you our 75, pick like 3 or 4 of our best podcasts about health, wealth, and mindset. Sit back, enjoy, listen, and you know what? Here we are at Shed Talk with Kevin Halliday. Creating curiosity by asking better questions. This is Shed Talk.
And I was starting to feel that way around longevity. So, let's unleash this, because I think our species needs biohacking. We've bleeped up our environment. We're spraying glyphosate everywhere. We're eating garbage and telling people that peasant food is actually the most nutritious they can have, and watching their testosterone levels fall and their bone density go away. And worst of all, when people are malnourished, they're mean to each other. And what I've learned, especially with 40 years of Zen and all the meditation with masters and things, we're wired in our biology to be kind to each other. This is a biological imperative inside your cells, inside your bones. It just doesn't happen if you're malnourished and if you're afraid all the time and if you're overtrained or overstressed. I don't care if the stress comes from, powerlifting every day, or if it comes from a bad relationship, or it comes from that weird vegan nonsense on your plate.
Well, before I started Kung Fu, I was definitely at a point where I wasn't sure how to get that next edge. I was working out, I was walking, I was doing all these things, but I wanted to get into extra great shape. I wanted to really feel what it felt like to use my body as a weapon, to be in complete control of this physical instrument that I can control. So leading up to that, there was struggles. There was, am I good enough for this? Can I make it to the next level? As an example, we have gradings in Kung Fu that rank you to the next level. So towards, getting the black belt, it was very intimidating. And I did think, there's no way I can do this. But the way you overcome that sort of fear is to just put yourself in it. Just do it. Face your fear. And you will come out a better person.
When you put the gun in your mouth, what did it taste like?
Relief.
And what does that mean by relief?
Well, a lot of people don't understand that most people who die by suicide do not want to die. People would ask me, why would Robin Williams, somebody with everything to live for, want to die? I worked a couple of times with Robin Williams. The truth is, my guess is Robin Williams did not want to die. I did not want to die. Most people who die by suicide simply want to end the pain. And that's the only way we figure to make that happen. So that's I just wanted to get out of the pain. It was hurting me, but killing my wife. I mean, she was devastated. And I had $1 million life insurance policy. So I'm thinking I could fix this.
So concerned about things not working out that they're nobody has said this directly, but I think a lot of people, teams, and a lot of investors, they would rather you hire C players and B players at the chance that knowing you would never hire an A player or a pro player as long as you never get somebody that'll fail. And I'm like, I'm not here to just be another company, another person growing here and there. I want to grow something at scale. I either want to jump into a burning ship and let's turn the ship around and go win the industry, or let's do something that people will look back at and go, how in the hell were you all able to do that with that small of a team? And to do that, you have to hire people that are incredibly good, which often means hiring people that haven't been in the exact industry. They're going to think differently. They're going to be super skilled at the job you're hiring them to, but I almost need you to have a diversity of thought versus other people.
5 years ago, I was in deep debt, single mom. I was 54 then. And I just thought I got to do something. And so I knew nothing about social media, and I got on social media and I figured out how to get clients with no ads, because ads don't work that well. And it worked, and I figured it out. And then people were like, wow, if this woman can do it, so can I. Because I'm kind of the underdog, because I didn't know about tech. I wasn't, the people, young people, they're just learning about this is in their cosmos to learn about social media and, everything. So for me, I had to learn it all. And also, you know, a lot of single moms don't make it. You know, the numbers of women after divorce in America or anywhere of actually ever recovering financially are very slim. I don't know if you know that. So I was kind of behind a lot of eight balls. And I like to share that you're never too old. You're never too solo parent, because it's not just solo moms. I think that solo dads also struggle a lot, because you're doing two jobs. You really are. So I like to share that yes, you can do this. And, you know, really it just is about deciding. Like, you know, you're super successful. You were sharing with me a little bit before all of that. I mean, you had a certain mindset. You just did it, right? You just said, I'm going to do this. And you decided and you figured it out. Am I correct?
And don't be freaked out when your client goes, we have a huge issue. You sit down and you listen, and you can say, oh, but that's what you said, client. You said it was fine. You said, you know, no, don't even argue or defend. You can say, this was the thinking. We thought it would be good. You approved it. But yeah, we can do anything here.
Like, we go to a bike event, it's nonstop. Like, we just had the Calgary Motorcycle Show, and I probably had 50 people come up to us saying, hey, you supported me in a motorcycle accident. Hey, you supported my dad crashed, or whatever the scenario is. And it's heart-wrenching, because a lot of the times I'm like, hey, let's talk about it. Can I do like a short video with you, or let's take a picture? And they start crying and they're emotional. And it's really amazing, like, what we've created without even, I always say it was an accident. It wasn't.
Being a part of the team and be a part of an organization for so long, and then all of a sudden the next day you're done. You know, it's not that you're old news, but you're not required anymore. And that's hard to get over, because I was fortunate enough to have been with the Stamps for 14 years. I was a captain when I won the President's Ring. And so I had a big role with the team, and then I didn't the next day. And that was actually pretty hard to take. And, you know, going through it, it was tough. I look back on it now, it's easy to say. I struggled mentally with that, because, you know, you don't feel part of the team anymore. You know, all your teammates that you had played with and who are now retired, they've got jobs, they've got families, they're trying to survive on their own. So you don't see them as much. You don't feel a part of that. And I was, you know, at the time I would have said, hey, I'm great. You know, I've got a great job. I've got good friends. This is awesome. But I look back on it and I really struggled with it mentally.
I don't think it's too much of a mind shift, because I feel like all of it's entertainment. I feel like it's a few Americans that don't realize that sports are still entertainment at the same time. But I've had the same mindset that I had playing sports, because having the mindset I did, like, it was some days I didn't want to work out, some days I didn't want to run, some days I didn't want to kick, some days I didn't want to do whatever because it was too cold or too rainy or too wet outside. And you kind of got to have that same mindset for music too, or anything else that you do in life. And I feel like it kind of puts you ahead of the game compared to everybody else.
Thanks for tuning in for 75 episodes. And you know, 100 is just around the corner. Also, check out all our previous episodes, and also the next episodes that's coming up with Shed Talk with Kevin Halliday. Now you know. Shed Talk.